You are listening to the B.I.G show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It's the big show, and
Big
we
up.
are back on another weeknight. Like I don't know what's going on. We acting like the weekends. Yeah, weekends is just too booked. Like we booked and busy, however they say it. So we back. For everybody that's listening, we are live on Amazon, live on YouTube, and can be found on can be found on all the podcast platforms. And if you do have Spotify, you'll be able to see our beautiful faces. Hey, what's going on, Garland?
Bro, I'm good. Busy week coming up on a extended holiday weekend. I know one of the reasons why I'm not available this weekend, outside of it being Memorial Day, and sometimes we need a break. My mother-in-law is turning 90 tomorrow, and so we're having a birthday celebration for her on Saturday. My sister turned 61 on yesterday, and so a lot of closing out May with some birthdays and everything. But what I really want to hear is, how was wine in the woods? Because our chief sommelier, Calvin Coates Jr., went to Wine in the Woods, and we talked about it last episode. Because he is a sommelier, and so I just wanted to know, how did it go? Did you bring home any new bottles?
Sadly, I did not attend.
What?
I've told you I've been sick. I've been feeling under the weather.
That's right.
So I wasn't able to make it out there. And so the wife went, and she gave the ticket to one of her friends. Girlfriend came down from New Jersey, and they all had a good time. And they bring their husbands. We all hang out together. So the husbands were a little upset that they were outnumbered with the ladies by one. They were short one. But apparently they all had a good time. The rain subsided for a little while, and then it came back. It came back out. The wife did bring home about 15 bottles of new wines that we haven't tried. We got this new wine called a coconut lime wine from this place called Misfit Wine. So we're gonna have to venture out there and check out Misfits. Coconut lime, it actually a little unique flavor. It wasn't too sweet. It was pretty good. And so wines, if you don't know, anything in wines that's like 11-12% alcohol by volume is pretty high content, and usually the sweeter wines are less than that. So this was about 11.5 alcohol by volume. So guys, God, Lord.
He had to show his big brain, y'all. About 11.
Listen, I know people of our color that will talk circles around me about wine. I am still new to the game. It's been a few years for us, but I am new to the game. So I only claim sommelier status when I'm around you, because I know you get to hit the Havanas. That's your thing. That's your thing.
Let's talk some cigars. Maybe we could talk about that. Let's talk about a couple of beers. But, man, he can hit us on the wine. So I'm glad, because black people think they wine drinkers because they drink Moscato.
Exactly.
So, like, we tearing this Moscato up, yo. It's infidel. You ain't doing nothing.
Be nothing but sugar water in there with about 2% alcohol, and they swear they lit up. Oh man, this thing got me fucked. I look at the bottle and be like, only thing got you fucked up is me, because you got me fucked up with that dose.
I've been hearing brunch acting a fool. Thinking you drunk off some Moscato. Anyway.
Which, by the way, speaking of brunch, mimosas are good at any time. There are plenty of evenings when me and the wife get some orange juice and some champagne, but you can get some Prosecco if you don't want to spend that much champagne. Some Prosecco or whatever, and just mimosa it down all evening long. I'm just trying to tell you, mimosas ain't just for brunch. It's very good. It's inexpensive too.
That should be the title of this podcast. Mimosas are not just for brunch.
There we go. We got a title.
Mimosas, not just for brunch.
Hey man, what we got going on today?
Bro, we gonna hit it all. We gonna hit the schedule. We talked about it last week, but we ain't go deep into it. So we're gonna go take a deeper dive, come up with some predictions. We're gonna talk a little Scottie Scheffler. Calvin's been chomping at the bit to talk about America's number one golfer breaking laws last week and getting arrested. That was the top news on Friday. I'm trying to get dressed. I'm like, what's going on? White people out here getting arrested. Gonna talk.
Wilding.
Yeah, wow. Gonna talk a little Caitlin Clark. They want to give Caitlin. They want to change the rules for Caitlin because she out here getting dogged by the NBA, WNBA players, and now they want to change the rules for. We're gonna hit on a little music corner. Got a special music corner, Garland's music corner. But we're gonna start off with the NBA playoffs, and Calvin and I both kind of washed out in the Western Conference. We both picked the Nuggets to win that series with the T Wolves, and I believe we both picked OKC to beat Dallas, and that did not happen. And so the Timberwolves they had all held off the defending champs to advance to the Western Conference Finals to face the Dallas Mavericks tonight. The game should be starting very shortly. The Nuggets took a 3-2 series lead, but they couldn't close it out, Calvin. They tried, went back to Minnesota, got blown out, then came home, had a 20-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And the T Wolves defense just picked up. Boy, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards just really stepped up. Not that he had a big scoring game, but on the defensive end, he shut down Jamal Murray and made some key plays. Big French, Rudy Gobert hit a couple shots. Cat hit a couple shots as well. Called Anthony Towns, and they prevailed in that series. And so, with the outcome of that series, Calvin, I mean, there have been people just saying, move over Steph, move over LeBron. Anthony Edwards is the best player in the NBA right now. Do you agree with that?
At this very, very moment, Anthony Edwards is the best player in the
All right.
NBA.
All
At
right.
this, again, at this very, very moment. Um, but, and even Anthony Edwards said he couldn't do it without his team because he did not have a great shooting day in that game 7, especially in the first half. But if you look at these clutch shots in the second half, he had a couple steals off of Jamal Murray. He won for a dunk. He came down with a 3-pointer that pretty much put him away. But I mean, Rudy Gobert was in foul trouble and literally was doing nothing for 3 quarters. I mean, he
Right.
had some stats in there, but if you actually watch the game, he looked like he was doing nothing. He came in and was hitting some clutch shots that you were like, how did that go in? Then the Nuggets, one of their problems was they got into the bonus early. So Minnesota was on the line after every foul the entire fourth quarter, and they were draining them. It was you can't win. You can't win when the other team is hitting their free throws. And it's just a good game. I don't know if you get a chance to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched both games. I watched 6 and 7, 6. I mean, they just came out on fire. Denver couldn't hit a shot after they had a little lead. Then they
Mm-hmm.
just ran away with it. Ant-Man had this kind of like hesitation dribble on, I forget who it was. It might have been on Porter and dunked. And yeah, they just really just blew them out. And game 7, it seemed like they got scared and stopped shooting in the fourth quarter. Like they had that lead. Minnesota started clawing back, and then they just kept on trying to run this pick and roll, pick and roll. They couldn't be successful with it. Um, I think Jokic was maybe waiting a little bit too late to go ahead and get his shot. A lot of times, like when he had that 40-point game, he was very decisive in that game. Either I'm going to drive, I'm going to shoot this jumper, I'm going to kick. And in that game 7, it just seemed like they really were kind of a little bit behind on making the decision of what they're going to do with the ball. And after a while, Minnesota started hitting those corner threes. Defense picked up, and it turned into a game. And then it turned into a lead for Minnesota. I'm willing to give Anthony Edwards the best player in the NBA right now. Let's not put him in Jordan category. I know people want young Jordan. Young Jordan. He's got to win a chip first. And so now, if he goes and they win a championship this year, then yeah, we can start. You can mention him in a great player stance. Now, I mean, of course, he's going to have to get more than one. Of course, because Jordan's got six, so he's going to have to get more than one. I mean, but we can start really having that conversation. But right now, yes, he's the best player in the league. I mean, I think what he did defensively on Jamal Murray was major. He just stepped up to the plate and said, "You're not going to score. You're not going to influence this game," and he did it. I think also maybe we should give Denver a little pass as well because Murray was banged up. Bad calf. Um, this team this year was not as good. I mean, they were good record wise, but they were not as good as last year's team. I think they had more scorers last year or more creators on the offensive end. Once you got into their bench, there was not a lot of scoring there. I think last year they had a scorer or two coming off the bench where they could keep momentum going. But once they start substituting out, they got Brown in there and they start getting other players. You really was not getting any offensive production. And so the better team won. I believe that Minnesota won the season series anyway. And so, the better team won. And I just thought it was a great series.
I'm not giving Murray no pass because
You're
first
not?
of all,
Okay.
no, first of all, it's forever fuck Jamal Murray because he's a Laker killer. And
Oh,
he was hurt. He was hurt in the Lakers series. That ain't stop his ass from hitting last minute 3 pointers,
the
falling
Lakers
away and
they
falling
bums.
out. Don't do that. Don't do
They
that.
bums.
They ain't give him no, he was still dropping 30 and 40 points against my Lakers hurt. Man,
Hmm.
fuck Jamal Murray.
That's what he needed. He needed to be against the Lakers. He just needed them to put on Lakers
Exactly.
uniforms.
Exactly. But he wasn't. Shit, Minnesota's our little brother because that's I don't know how, but
they
they the
y'all,
Lakers'
they
little
y'all little
brother.
brother now.
they our little they defended us. They our little brother. And
That's a
listen,
shame. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna talk more about these Nuggets later.
All right. Now, who wins this series between Minnesota and Dallas? Dallas, Luka's playing well, although he's been banged up. I want to see this matchup between Kyrie and Anthony Edwards. Kyrie, he's got a lot of handles. Kyrie's got a lot of moves. I've yet to see someone lock him up one on one, and so this is going to be a challenge for Anthony Edwards if they stop putting them on him if Kyrie shoots the ball because there's some games that Kyrie might just shoot 5 shots or maybe 9. So, what are your thoughts on who wins the series?
Yeah, man. And speaking of Kyrie's ball handler, I think Kyrie is probably top five, maybe even top three ball handler ever in the game.
Definitely,
The boy
definitely.
is just that
Boy's
good.
got handles. Handles.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So, you want to say Minnesota. The easy answer is Minnesota because of the two bigs down low. The of course Anthony Edwards, they also got a bench, and you want to say that. But the way that Dallas has been pulling these games out, I mean, they were really outmatched. You got Luka and you got Kyrie, and Luka was hurt, and Kyrie didn't really show up every game, but they found a way, man. They
Right.
found a way to give it through. I'm gonna go with Minnesota, but Minnesota is still a young team. Dallas. If we're talking about whose turn it is, if
Hmm.
you're not getting Denver coming out the West this year, it's Dallas's turn. Like Dallas got to prove something. Luka has to prove something. We've been talking about how good
Right.
Luka is, and he hasn't made it to a finals yet. Maybe he won't have to win one, but he's got to make it to one if he wants to remain in that conversation.
I think this is Dallas' second Western Conference final in 3 years.
They went to the conference finals.
They did the
Oh,
year,
Western Conference. I'm talking.
yeah,
I was
Western
talking about.
Conference
Yeah,
final.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah,
talking about the
they went
final
the year
NBA
that
finals. Right, 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 right,
yeah,
right.
they went the year that Golden State won, and then this is the second time. And so,
Yeah, man, he got to
um,
make it. He got to make it.
yeah, I would say T Wolves in six. I think they just have the momentum.
It's that momentum is
Yeah,
big.
it's momentum is big, and they started off strong in that Denver series. Denver did scratch back as champs. They took a couple punches. They came back those 3 games, but I think Denver's defensive skill, their presence, their prowess, just really won them those final 2 games. And so I think I'm going to stick with them. All right, let's go talk about the Knicks. The Knicks, they lost at home. I'm so glad that New York is out of this because now we ain't got to have Stephen A. Smith and all of these cats, all of these New York people and the New York media bias. Thank God we don't have to hear about Madison Square Garden anymore or see Spike Lee. I just want to see a movie, Spike. I don't want to see you. And so the Celtics, they escaped with an overtime win last night versus the Pacers in game one with a corner three from Jaylen Brown to take the game to overtime, and they take a one zip series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. To get to this round, the Pacers, they set a record for field goals made to finish off the Knicks at the Garden in game seven. A depleted Knicks because I think everybody was injured. I think they tried to put a jersey on Bernard King and and Patrick Ewing to come out and play. And so that loss has started some rumblings about Tom Thibodeau's future in New York. People said that his system runs down players. I don't think that's necessarily the case this season. I mean, those players just got injured. I mean, uh, him playing Julius Randle minutes. Julius Randle bumped into a player that has nothing to do with being worn down. I mean, this is the playoffs. This is what you play for. Everybody's worn down at this point in the season, and so that can't be it. But any thoughts about that Pacers series?
Well, they mad at Thibodeau. They still mad about Derrick Rose. So
Right,
he gonna always hold that
right.
Derrick Rose thing.
Now he might have grounded Derrick Rose to dust, but
he he put Derrick Rose in the pepper grind. Him
right.
say when, but nah.
Looking like Superhead on that
So we
grind.
we talked about this for a couple weeks. We talked about at some point
Yeah,
these Knicks injuries are going to get them, and as soon as
caught
they
up.
were really out of it anyway, but as soon as Brunson went down, and they would announce he ain't coming back in the game, like you just knew it was over. Like it just wasn't. There was no comeback in them. Shout out to the Knicks. They tried. They were in their home court. They tried their best, but yeah, man, Indiana shot, like you said, a record. I mean, they had a record first half. They shot like 75% in the first
Yeah,
half. Like, even if they don't shoot 75% in the second half, which they didn't, how do you overcome that? Like you can't even you can't overcome that. So but now the game last night, the Pacers and the Celtics. Listen, I don't know what's going on with Boston. Boston is supposed to be running through these teams. What was the Pacers? The number 6 seed?
yeah,
And
but the
they
Pacers
barely won that game.
The Pacers are a good scoring team. They're a good, fast paced team. You're going to be up and down with them. You're not going to. Now, their defense is a little suspect. They threw away that game. They should have won that game. You
They
had
should have
that
won that
game,
game. They should
and
have won
you
that
was up
game.
by four or something, and 20 seconds, 10 seconds left. You should win that game. You should
They
win
should
that
have won
game,
that game.
and
Yeah.
so that's their fault. But I think their style of play is always going to keep them in any game. I think
You got them
Halliburton's
beating
great.
Boston?
I want to go ahead and give an upset special on this one if we were to reevaluate it. I know we said Boston's probably going to come out the East, but I wouldn't be surprised if this goes seven.
You try and go out there and change your pick? You-
I'm not going to change my pick. I'm going to stay with because I think what happened with Boston is they're a 3-point shooting team, and so when the threes are hitting, they're great. I mean, they're blowing you out, but when those threes ain't dropping, you can stay in the game. Tatum, he was only 2 for 10 in the fourth quarter. He's shooting a lot of fadeaways. He did score 10 points in overtime, so that kind of helped carry them to that victory. But in that fourth quarter, he was horrible, and you can't have your best player missing shots like that. He had an opportunity to tie the game earlier, and I mean, he missed a kind of like in the lane jumper where he's kind of fading back and thing hits the back of the rim. And so I think the shooting has to be top notch. If not, you can hang around with them. Especially, I like the way that Indiana plays. And this is crazy. Indiana, they were kind of low going into the in-season tournament. They got all the way to the finals. It would be crazy if they made it to the finals again. But I still think Boston wins this, but it's probably going to go seven.
I think this so they had so many days to rest. Actually, they had the longest of any team to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe there's always that fine line between too much rest and just enough rest. And I think maybe they laxed a little bit too much. Maybe they saw they were going to play Indiana, even though they lost Indiana in the tournament, the
Yeah,
in
they
season
did. They lose,
tournament.
lose to Indiana
I
in the
think they
season.
kind of looked at that like, we should have an easier road than had we played the Knicks, had we had to play the Knicks. And it kind of snuck up on them, and it almost bit them. But I think even if they'd have lost the first game, they would still come back and win. I don't even have it going 7. I got
All right. Okay.
five.
Five.
Yeah, I got Boston in 5.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just think it's a great matchup. They match up well. And so we'll see what happens with that. Let's talk a little WNBA, man. They want to change the rules for Caitlin Clark because she's getting dogged by these players. Having to tune in on Saturday, saw a little bit of the Liberty Indiana Fever game, and they was just grinding her up, running her through picks and stripping her the ball, backing her down on the block. And so her WNBA career is off to a rough start. Although she scored 20 points or more in 3 of the 4 Indiana Fever games, the team remains winless. And there have been several suggestions from commentators and former NBA players that the NBA should take it easy on Caitlin because she is the ticket for the future of the league. Like, yeah, these players got axe to grind. They need to ease up because she's the one while they're getting chartered flights and, this big, interest in the game now and all the TV thing. Just about every game she plays is on TV. Uh, you had Colin Cowherd, suggesting that the WNBA set her up by scheduling her against these tough teams to start out her career. And so, you think they're being too hard on Caitlin? Does this have merit? Maybe they need to be easy on her and let her flourish so the league can flourish. I mean, how
Absolutely.
dumb does that sound? I just like to
Exactly.
say
Absolutely not. Like,
that.
did they ease up on Michael Jordan when he had to play Larry Bird? Did they ease up
No.
on him when he had to play Magic?
When they
We
had to
talked
play the
about Shaq
Pistons.
last week. Did they
Mm-hmm.
ease up on
Mm-hmm.
Shaq when he had to play Hakeem?
Nope.
No, like fuck that, man. First of all, anyone that suggests that definitely has no respect for the women's basketball game.
Right. Right.
Because what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, there are these other. You got Asia Wilson out there. You got Brittany Griner still out there playing. Candace Parker just retired.
Mm-hmm.
But you got Angel Reese out there. You got all of these girls. Brianna
Seaweed.
Stewart,
You got you
Alyssa
got
Thomas
more.
from Maryland. You
Mm-hmm.
got all of these girls
A
that
lot of
are
great, players.
ballers. They are absolute ballers. Caitlin Clark just has to wait her turn and take her lumps. Now, the thing that they're all missing is that she was picked number 1, which of course means that she got picked by the worst team in the league. She doesn't have a team around her. She's trying to do it all alone. Maybe her coach should make her
Mm-hmm.
step back a little and say, use your team a little more.
Outside
And
of Aaliyah Boston, yeah, it's not too many
it's outside
players.
of Aaliyah Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But Caitlin has actually gotten better, but she's going to take these bumps and bruises. It pains me to hear other athletes say that because as an athlete, Caitlin Clark wouldn't even want them to take it easy on her. As a true athlete, she's not out there like, oh, I want to play in the skunk game. Like, put me in when we up 30. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like, she
right,
doesn't want to do anything like that.
right.
And what do you expect? Now they're setting her up because they're putting all these big games on TV. If you want people to watch your product, you put the best product out. No one wants to see a primetime game of Lamar Jackson playing against the Carolina Panthers. No one but Baltimore. We won't want to see it.
Yeah, we don't.
But
The
it's
networks are not going to put that on Monday night. They're
exactly,
not
it's
putting that
not
on
a
Sunday.
national draw.
Right.
You put her against the best players in the WNBA, and that's what they're doing. I mean, stop it. All these
Yeah,
stop it.
I agree with you. I mean, one, it's a testament to the level of play in the WNBA. You have good players. I think the thing is people not really watching the game. And I'm not going to lie and say I sit and watch every game, but I have enough knowledge of the game to know that because the league is small and there's so few roster spots, you have a collection of the best players playing. I mean, in the last couple seasons, you have first round picks getting cut and released because there's so many good players for teams. They can be selective and get the best players. And so to me, it's a testament of the skill level that no, this is not college. You're going to have to come in here and work. And I mean, it's not like she's out here scoring 2 points a game. She's had 20 plus points 3 of the 4 games. And so she's getting some baskets. Is she as proficient as she was at Iowa? No. But
Who would
she's
have
eventually,
expected her
yeah,
to be?
yeah, she's going to eventually get there. I think as the team grows, as the players develop and they get better players, then yeah, they're going to be there competing. But, you got a dynasty team and the aces in the league. You got a team that's right below that that probably should have won the championship last year in the Liberty. You got
With
Atlanta's been,
Breonna Stewart,
yeah, with
one of
Breonna
the
Stewart.
best players ever.
You got Connecticut Sun. You got Atlanta Dream. I mean, you got the Dallas team with Ogumake. She's very good. You have these good players in the league. Not even talking about the West out there with Phoenix and the Sparks and all those teams as well. And so, yeah, she's got to earn her stripes. You can't make it easy. You just can't, hey, just open the lane and go ahead and make a layup or shoot your jump shot. You got to earn this, and I think she's on her way. She's not totally being a scrub out there, but
Exactly.
she's got to play the games.
She's literally taking her bumps and bruises. Sabrina Ionescu broke the record for 3-pointers in the WNBA, and she's playing against her. So you think she's all of a sudden going to be better than Sabrina? Come on.
Right.
Come on, y'all.
Right.
Come on, y'all.
Yeah. I think Bomani said it best that this season, Caitlin's going to be facing a lot of women with red palms when they play because it's going to be a lot of let's go right up in her face. People D'ing her up,
and she's supposed
they got
to
the hype, and they want it's the challenge.
She's supposed to.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what happens with it. We're gonna talk some golf. This is because we don't talk golf that much. I'm a golfer. I try to teach Calvin the game. But,
I know how to score. I know how to score the game.
You know how to score the game, but you're not supposed to put the tee down every time you take a swing.
I didn't say I do it. I just said I know how to score the game. Like I know how to score.
Let's talk a little Scottie Scheffler. Now, if you didn't realize this last weekend, the #1 golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler, was arrested Friday outside of the Valhalla Golf Club in Louisville, Kentucky, the site of last week's PGA Championship. The police alleged that when they attempted to stop Scheffler's SUV to give him instructions because there had been a fatal accident at the entrance of the country club and someone had been killed by a chartered bus, the SUV accelerated and dragged the officer, causing injuries to his left wrist and knee. Scheffler called the incident a big misunderstanding and a chaotic situation. And Scheffler was attempting to pass backed up vehicles to enter the course. And so traffic was stopped. And because of this, he was booked on 4 charges, including second-degree assault on a police officer, which is a felony. And he was booked in a downtown detention center and released less than 2 hours before his second round tee time. And he came back and played. And I think he finished in the top 20, as a matter of fact, playing that weekend. And another thing, also looks like the charges might be dropped. They're concerned that the police officer's body camera was not on, and so the arraignment is June the 3rd, and so they're really reviewing this because it's looking like it's going to fall in Scottie's. But Calvin's concern was the media coverage of this, particularly the coverage that was done by ESPN, and I think it was on CBS as well on Saturday and Sunday about Scottie, and you saw free Scottie shirts and all these different things. What was your thought about Scheffler and the coverage of this, Calvin?
And I'm glad you said that, because let me put it this way. Let me definitely qualify all this by saying I don't know the character of Scottie Scheffler. I don't follow him. I know just what I hear in passing about his game. Even after that, he came back, and I believe he shot that day a 4 under par, which is actually very good. I think that put him in second or third place.
No, he was like in the top 10.
For that, I'm talking about that day. I think he fell back.
Day.
Yeah, for that day. I think he fell back after that.
Saturday, yeah.
So I make no mistake. And I'm always one to support the citizens. So my beef isn't with Scheffler at all. My beef is with the media coverage, and my beef is with the opinion of the people that watch the game. Let's, for example, say Lamar Jackson was on his way to practice at the Owens Mills facility at Ravens Park. And let's say Lamar Jackson just happened to get out his car and get misidentified with the police officer. And when Lamar says, hey, that's not me, and he tries to walk away, they arrest him for resisting arrest. All you people and the media, all we would hear is he should have complied. Lamar could have came back. Lamar could have came back and had a great practice. Or if it was a game, he could have thrown for 5 touchdowns, 700 yards, the best game ever. All we would have heard is, oh, why they let that criminal on the field? He should have complied. He's charged with resisting arrest. Oh, he's a thug. He's this and that. Mm-hmm. Not Scottie Scheffler. All I heard that entire morning was how poised he was, how poised he was to play golf so well. All I heard was how he's taken so much accountability and is very remorseful and and definitely we want to give our sympathies to the man that died because that's what caused the backup. A pedestrian was killed. What about him moving his car when he wasn't supposed to? What about him assaulting the police officer no matter how it was? Oh, they're going to drop the charges now because the body cam may not have been on? How many times have we seen the MF and body camera get cut off? Not that it wasn't on, but get cut off. How many times have we seen them on their own body cam say, you got your body cam on? Yeah, why don't you go ahead and cut that off? Yeah. How many times have we heard that? But Scottie Scheffler ain't nothing. There was nothing negative said about him. Lamar Jackson said that they would have reached back when he was in elementary school and stole a gumball from the little kid next to him. They'd had everybody out there talking about Lamar's character. True. The bias in the media and the bias from the people that watch, because we know who most of the golf crowd is. And we know how come we didn't hear this anywhere else? How come we didn't hear this anywhere else? Because we would have heard about, my mother would have heard about Lamar Jackson, and she don't even follow football. Right. She'd have said, is Lamar Jackson okay? She didn't ask me nothing about Scottie Scheffler. She didn't ask me nothing about him.
Honey, what happened with Lamar?
Exactly. Oh, well, the Ravens ain't going to win no games because Lamar needs to be locked up. He needs to be locked up.
Well, bro, think about this. The media, do you realize the local and national media covered a story that was not true about Zay Flowers?
Exactly.
Zay Flowers was never charged with anything, and he was eventually not charged at all. And they covered it. I mean, they were having serious discussions about he's going to be suspended.
Exactly.
5 games.
He should definitely be suspended at least 3 to 4 games. They were talking about the Ravens should definitely draft a wide receiver in the first round because it's likely Zay Flowers won't be there. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I was so irritated listening to. I just kept listening, waiting for somebody to say, well, he broke the law, didn't he? Like, he don't have no choice but to be remorseful and humble. And again, it's not anything against him or his character, because I'm all for people making a mistake. You get what you get, and if you can get off, because maybe he did. I can understand. He's in this golf thing. He knows he's got to get there. He's not trying to disrespect anyone, but he's got to get there. It's his job. So I completely understand, but it's the way that it was covered and the way that it was handled and the bias between white athletes and black athletes. And one more thing, and I'm going to stop it.
Okay.
I never want to hear a certain group of people again talking about Blue Lives Matter, because nobody said, well, he assaulted an officer. They should throw the book at him. No one said anything.
Well, Calvin, because they know that an assault on an officer is a phony charge.
Oh,
it's just a charge to make a charge.
Oh, really?
you officer because officer can say sit down and you say no, and they grab your arm and you pull it away, and that's assault
And resisting arrest also.
and resisting.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
that they know that's trumped up. I agree with you. I mean, I think well, we know we live in America, and we know that America sees justice through two lenses, and it's the lens of color, black versus white. Black people see the law and how it interacts and affects people one way versus what white people see. And this seems like, oh, he's a great guy. This was unfortunate. He didn't know that something was going on up ahead, and so he was just trying to get to the course. But I agree with you. If this was a NBA player, if this was a NFL player, it would be holy hell. You're supposed to listen to law enforcement. Like I said, we saw this fake coverage of Zay Flowers, a man who never had any charges, but from every talk show locally and nationally, you would have thought this guy was getting ready to go to prison for 10 years, the way that they were covering this story. And so, yeah, there's this, media sees it through lens. We know that, golf is a white audience. It's white. It's a mainly white sport. And so the way that they see it, it's an injustice. Free Scotty, Scotty Luther King, Scotty Lives Matter. And yeah, I agree with you. It just, it's a double standard. I feel the same way about hockey and fights. Now in hockey, it is acceptable to fight. Oh, they can
Encouraged.
fight.
It's
It's
encouraged.
encouraged. You have enforcers on the team that are known for fighting. If fights broke out, we had one big fight. I know they used to fight in the 70s in the NBA and
All
all
the
that
time.
stuff. Yeah, all the time. But I'm talking about we had the big fight, the Malice in the Palace. I saw that live, and you would have thought it was Armageddon. I mean, there was a major call for reform in the sports, and they need to be more strict. Or we need a dress code for people coming to the game. I mean, it was so much overreaction to this black men fighting, but you have a sport that's dominated by white people, and they fight all the time, and it's cool. Baseball fights. Oh, they're running from the front running from center field from the bullpen and everybody's. It's great. It's great. But if it was the Latino players all fighting, it would be a problem. And so, yeah, we just, it's this bias in sports and it's broken down by color.
Yeah, thank you for letting me get that out. I won't go any
Yeah,
further.
yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
and and
tell them
and
how you feel, son.
and shout out to Scotty. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad at him. Like,
Yeah,
you can only get whatever justice is served to you. So I'm not, and of course he ain't gonna ask for more. Like, I wouldn't expect him to be like, no, y'all should treat me like I'm black. Like,
and he got bailed quickly. Trust me. If that was a Lamar, if that was
bailed
football, he got
quickly.
bailed out
He still made his tea time.
and made his tea time. If that was on a Sunday and the Ravens was playing the Steelers or the Chiefs and Lamar did something like that, we ain't seeing Lamar at the game.
Listen, if
We
he
ain't
if
seeing
he's
Lamar at the game.
if he's in Baltimore getting arrested, he might make the
He might.
game because
He
they.
gonna make that game.
But let him be in another city and he get arrested
Let
and he's
that
supposed to
happen in
play 18.
Pittsburgh. Let
Oh
that
shit!
happen in Kansas City. Let
Mike Tomlin would have been like,
he ain't playing that game. He's not playing that game. And that leaves us a perfect segue right into the Ravens 2024 schedule. And so the Ravens, man, a lot of people kind of like all up in arms about the schedule. I think people calm down now that they've had some time to take a look at it. Now, they're playing several games that are national games, and they got a pretty rigorous schedule. They're playing at home. They have the Raiders. They have the Bills on Sunday night football, the Commanders, Broncos. They had the Bengals at home for Thursday night football, Eagles, Steelers, which they're playing a Saturday game for that. And then the last game, the Browns, is to be announced, and that's really going to be based on what the record's looking like and if there's any division winning implications in that. Their bye week is the 14th, week 14, but they also get a Thursday night bye between the Bengals and the Steelers game, and so they have that Thursday night game, and so they get at least I think that's 10 days as well, although they don't officially count that as a bye, but it is a bye nonetheless. And then their away games are the Chiefs, Cowboys, Bengals. They play the Buccaneers down in Tampa on Monday night. Browns, Steelers. They play the Chargers on Monday night as well. And then, of course, they have the Giants, and then they have the Texans for a Wednesday Christmas Day game. And so they have a couple tough stretches. Week 11 through 13, they're playing the Steelers at home. Then they have the Chargers, and then they have the Eagles at home. That's a tough three-game stretch. And then week 16 and 17, they play the Steelers on Saturday, and then they have to play the Texans in 4 days on Wednesday for that Christmas Day game. Now, one reprieve from the schedule is they get 16 days of rest, more than any other team in the league, and they're not away from home for games more than 2 weeks on the road. And so they're not doing 3 weeks on the road like I think they had a stretch last year that they had three games on the road. And so the most that they'll be on the road is 2 games per session and all throughout the league, throughout the year. And so um, just a quick rundown. And so the first 5 games is, of course, the Chiefs, home versus the Raiders, on the road versus the Cowboys, home on Sunday night versus the Bills, and then on the road with Cincinnati. And so a lot of people out here saying dumb things that they think the Ravens could be in last place after 5 games. They were saying the same thing last year. They had a tough opening schedule as well. And so, what are your thoughts, Calvin? Just first, let's talk about the games and all. I mean, what do you think about the schedule and
Yeah,
any
so
misgivings?
other than the traveling of the schedule, I actually took some time to actually look through it because last week when we went over it, I was just like that traveling is just that back and forth and not getting that full bye week until later in the season. But when I look at the schedule, I'm looking at some teams that who historically or in recent years, whatever, may have been really good, but they may have some down years on their own. Um, that first game against the Ravens and the Chiefs is really going to tell us a whole lot about what we can expect from the Ravens. That's a toss up for me. I really think the Ravens can win the game because you know how I feel about them on prime time. I think they can, but I even kind of gave it to the Chiefs. I was like, you know what? Let me mark this as a loss for the Ravens.
Well,
Although I
I
think the
think
Ravens can
you
win.
want to get the Chiefs early. That's how you get the
Exactly.
Chiefs. Get the Chiefs early.
Exactly.
You don't want the Chiefs late. By the time you get to week 14, 15, they're kind of in the mode of winning, heading into the
Exactly.
playoffs.
But if
You
you
want to get
if
them
you
picked up early.
remember the last 2 years with the Chiefs, getting them early is when they win. It's that middle of the season that you really want them. That's
Well,
when
they
they
did.
kind of take
They
that.
lost the first game last year to the Lions.
Yeah, but then they when they towards the middle and the end, that's when they picked it up because they
Okay.
remember they
Hmm.
they were in a point where they almost didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
They
before
almost didn't make the
hmm
playoffs. So I kind of like I wouldn't be too upset if the Ravens lost that game. But then I got them beating the Raiders, the Cowboys. Then they come home to the Bills, where a lot of people might think they can't beat the Bills at home. They can beat the Bills at home. They should have beat the Bills at home a couple years
a couple
ago. It
years
was
ago.
a
Was there?
bad call, that bad roughing the
Hmm
passer call. I was at that game.
hmm
I do have them
It's not winning the
possibly
ball too.
yeah, I do have them possibly dropping that away game to the Bengals, although that's another one that they can win. And I'm not going to go through all of it. I can't kind of came away with the schedule because that stretch with the Eagles and then you go to the Texans and all. I kind of
Hmm
was like, I kind of came away with a at the best 13-4, but I'm more of a 12-5 season for them this year.
I like 12-5 as well. I mean, I think a healthy Lamar owns the Bengals. They swept them last year. The year before that, they split, and so they always going to, either they're going to sweep or split. I'm not so much concerned about the Bengals anymore. It doesn't make it to me. It doesn't make a difference if they have a fully healthy Joe Burrow. They did have a fully healthy Joe Burrow. that first game, and they had a healthy T. Higgins and they had a healthy Jamar Chase, and the Ravens went in there kind of dinged up and won that game. Um, Dallas, I think again, this is another team you get early. I think you can win that game. Buffalo, they don't have the
They're
wide
down.
receiver anymore.
They're
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah. So
down.
they,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there are a lot of player shift there. Pittsburgh, they building back up. Yes, Pittsburgh is always going to be competitive because of Mike Tomlin. But I'm sorry, I don't have any faith right now in Danger Russ.
I'm with
Russ
you.
is going to have to show something, and Justin Fields going to have to show you something if he gets on the field as well. Yes, that
And they
defense is
also
always
lost
going to be
Deontay
something.
Johnson.
Right,
Remember they lost that. And
exactly.
also, if you look at the Steelers' schedule, the Steelers are in a murderer's row in their
Yeah, they
last
have a
6 to 7 weeks. They got all their AFC North games
right.
like back to back to back to back. Like the Steelers might end up losing those last 6 7 games and missing out on the playoffs. So
Yeah,
um
and I mean, you got teams on here you should beat. The Commanders,
yeah.
the Buccaneers.
Mhm.
Really, Cleveland. To me, I think you could beat Cleveland. They gave away a game last year here at home. They had a lead, uh,
Don't
and
remind me.
yeah, and they let Watson come in with a broken shoulder and basically beat them. Denver, that's a game you should win.
Hmm.
I, you know, Chargers, they did not make the playoffs last year. Yes, I know they got Harbaugh and they've done some things, but you
Well,
know,
they're what are they now? The L.A. Ravens because they
right?
got they got
They
Gus,
got
they
the
got
Ravens starting
J.K.,
backfield from
they got
last year,
Greg Roman.
but
Yeah.
they don't have Keenan Allen anymore. They don't have
Mm-mm,
Mike Williams anymore, and so they
mm-mm.
made a lot of transition. The
Which
Giants,
which and just talking about the Chargers, which I don't understand because if Justin Herbert is supposed to be their breadwinner, why are you taking away his receivers and building up his run game? Austin Eckler wasn't a bad run game. They don't have him anymore either. But why are you taking
hey,
away his
and let's
receivers?
not forget the Chargers' new offensive coordinator is Greg Roman.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
So we know why they're taking it away.
right,
They're gonna be all or nothing. They're
right,
gonna take their shots when they can.
right. And so on second glance, is not as hard as I don't like that Christmas time. I don't like that 21st
Yeah,
and then the
man.
25th game. I don't like that, and I hope that the Ravens are in position at that point that that game may not matter. I hope that they win enough, kind of in the early part, middle of the season, to where if they get to that game, that's not a live or die game that they need, because that's going to be a tough turnaround from the 21st to the 25th. And so
Hmm.
we'll have to see what happens with that. But I agree with you. Either a 12-5 or 13-4 record. I still think they are the one of the top teams in the AFC. And so we're going to see what happens with the team. They got their workout. And someone, I think it was RG3, said, a lot of times people think that, the Ravens are a team where they look at the schedule and be like, oh man, we got to play them, or we got to play them. But the Ravens are a type of team that says they have to play us. And so these teams got to get ready for the Ravens as well. And they were one of the most dynamic offenses last year. I think they've gotten better in the secondary. You are playing some pass heavy teams this season. I think it's going to be a good challenge for them.
Yeah.
All right. It's time for the second favorite part of the show, Garland's Music Corner. And so um, I think last time I talked, we did a little music corner. We talked some Stevie, and we talked Intervisions, my favorite Stevie album. And today we're going to talk about my favorite hip hop album of all time. I think it's the greatest hip hop album ever. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back by Public Enemy. Now, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back is the second studio album by Enemy. And the group also, they had set out to create the equivalent of Marvin Gaye's What's Going On in form of a rap album. And so the album is noted for its strong social commentary, just like What's Going On was. And so, as said by Chuck D, our mission was to kill the cold getting dumb stuff and really address some situations. And so It Takes a Nation of Millions has been cited by critics and publications as one of the greatest and most influential recordings of all time. It currently ranks at 34th on Apple Music's top 100 albums. Now, um, let me just talk about my personal experience with It Takes a Nation of Millions. And It Takes a Nation of Millions came out when I was a junior in college. And so this is like 87, 88 ish. And it's very rare that you get a album that inspires you to read a book. And this album inspired me to read three books one summer. It inspired me to read the autobiography of Malcolm X, um, uh, Soul on Ice by Eldridge Cleaver, and I think it was Black Muslims in America or Bloods by Wallace Terry, which was a history of blacks in the Vietnam War. Um, there's not too many albums that shape your political paradigm or your outlook like Public Enemy did. I wish I could find the picture with me with my African medallion on, thinking that I was Chuck D. And I mean, that album really stimulated not only a lot of political thought, but it ushered in the Afrocentric era to me of hip hop. This is where everybody was conscious. It was all brother, black this, black power. Everybody switched up their style because of the impact of Public Enemy. And then you got the song, the music, Bring the Noise, which was on the Less Than Zero soundtrack, was on their album. Don't Believe the Hype, which was a commentary on media coverage of rap music. You had Black Steel and the Hour of Chaos, which was a jail breakout that had people thinking like, yeah, let's go overthrow the government. Let's get the S1Ws. You had Night of the Living Bassheads talking about crack addiction. You didn't have too many groups talking about that back then. You had Rebel Without a Pause, which was an outstanding song as well. One of Public Enemy's greatest singles. Some deep cuts. She watched Channel Zero, Louder Than a Bomb, Mind Terrorist, man. Even Cold Lamping with Flavor. And so, out of all of Public Enemy's works, you had Yo Bum Rush the Show, It Takes a Nation of Millions, and Fear of a Black Planet, which was their third album. This is probably their greatest album that they've done to date, most influential, not only just in hip hop, but just music, period. And so it takes a nation of millions to hold us back by Public Enemy. If you get an opportunity, take a listen of it today. It still
Yes.
rocks. It's still relevant today, and that's my cue of a timeless album. If you still can play it today and it still resonates, that's a great album.
It's a Public Enemy. When they came out, I'm in high school, so I'm thinking
Yes.
more along the lines of this music is something. They had the videos out. The videos were always appealing. You knew Chuck D as being the boom of the group. You
Right.
had Flavor Flav as being kind of the I don't want to say the face, but the lively part of the group,
The
with his
Joker.
dancing and
Mm-hmm.
his moving around, but he also had some lines in there. And one thing about Flav, by the way, all this reality TV you see now, that's
Mr.
sh-
F.
shout out to Flavor Flav. Like there was reality TV before him,
Yes.
but if it wasn't for Flavor of
Mr.
Love, we
F.
would not have Love and Hip Hop and all of that. So shout out to
Yes.
Flavor for that. But Flavor is actually also a musician. Fun fact, I
Right.
saw Flavor in Baltimore, riding up Sinclair Lane. He apparently
What's up,
had some
yo?
family. Yeah, some years ago, he had, well, high school, of course. He had
Uh,
some family that lived a little bit up Garden Village. It was
oh,
Sedonia,
wow.
but not. But yeah, and
Right.
he would drive a Burgundy Subaru around. Burgundy Subaru
Wow.
hatchback.
Great.
So, but I also worked down the Inner Harbor at Hats in the Belfry, and there was a concert with had Queen Latifah, Public Enemy, MC Light, and Chuck D and Terminator X, who I didn't recognize. I recognized Chuck D. Didn't recognize Terminator X because he didn't have his glasses on, his
Uh-huh.
sunglasses on. They came in this small little shop, and it was this white lady I was waiting on, and I kind of ignored her. I stiff armed her because I saw Chuck D and was like,
Uh-huh.
"Whoa!" Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
And he bought a Mad Hatter for Flavor Flav, and I didn't go to the concert, but from my understanding, Flav wore that Mad Hatter that
Oh
night.
wow.
And if you were there, I sold him that. I
Ah.
sold him that. But yeah, shout out to Public Enemy, man.
Thanks. How
A
local.
lot of the music we didn't understand, us, and I'm talking about my crew because we were
Mm-hmm.
younger then. But as the time goes on, you see how Chuck D has been honored at the White House. He's always been for Black people. So if
Yeah.
there's nobody else you can listen to and rap, Listen to Chuck D, man. Listen to
Definitely.
Chuck D.
I mean, I think anybody my age, if they were in college around that time, or even if they were not in college, you had to really say Public Enemy helped shape your political viewpoint of the world and how you saw
Good one. Good, good,
it.
good.
All right. Now we come to our favorite segment of the show that everyone loves. Come on, yo. So Calvin, you got to come on, yo, for us.
Oh yeah, I do. You thought I was going to forget Denver. You thought I was going to forget. So I'm back. What's the coach name? Because I told you I don't like him. Mike Malone.
Mike
What's his name?
Malone.
Mike Malone.
Mike Malone
Let me.
is from Maryland. He coached
Yeah.
at Friends High School.
I don't give a fuck. Because we not friends, Mike. Let's talk about you for a minute, sir. At the end of your little loss, the reporter was like, how do you feel? You were up 20 and then you lost the game. And he going to be like, what do you mean? That means we're going home. And then going to mumble under his breath, stupid ass question. I ain't hear you saying none of that when my Lakers were beating your team by 20, 15 to 20 points and you kept coming back winning. So he wanted to know how it felt to be on the other side. Did you want to talk about how y'all were down 50 in game 6? You want to talk about that? Nah, Mike, you don't get to play the victim now. It wasn't a stupid ass question. You just a dumbass coach. I don't like you anyway. Plus, you don't even wear no shirt and tie, so I don't even care. I know a lot of them don't now, but I'm holding him to a high standard because he was the reigning champion. And then I heard a little interview that he had the same day. It was like, my guys, they've been playing so long. And last year we were able to rest. This year we didn't really get to rest. And, it's been tough. We taught. Everybody tired, Mike. Stop making excuses. They beat your ass. But hold on. This ain't just for you. Because Nikola Jokic, I like you. I do like you. I think you deserve the MVP and everything. Mm-hmm. But I know. What is he, Serbian? He's something.
I think he's a Serbian.
I know you and your little Serbian feelings ain't get hurt because Anthony Edwards waved your little fans off. You gonna come over and get in his face because you mad? I know the Joker ain't mad. Mr. 40, Mr. 50, Mr. 3-pointer. First of all, you need to be mad at your coach because it was 20 seconds left. And when Anthony Edwards was bringing the ball down, y'all called the dogs off. So you basically threw in a white flag. So all Anthony was saying was, have a good night, y'all. Like, be safe on your. And I've traveled in Denver. I was there for the Lakers game. And when I left, it's if you're not getting public transportation, it's a long walk. I had to walk a long way and it was dark and I was by myself. You don't know what's coming up in that thin air. It could be all kinds of foul creatures in that thin air. So Anthony was just like, be safe. But you mad. You mad because he waved you off? Or as like Mike Malone said, you taught, or how would you say? Let me see. Untaught ball. Man, fuck the Denver Nuggets. This shit couldn't have happened to a better team. I'm so glad y'all got crushed the way y'all got crushed because y'all been treating my Lakers like shit. Y'all been killing us. And I'm still upset about that. Y'all swept us last year and gave us the gentleman's sweep this year. Fuck the Denver Nuggets. Come on, yo. Man up, Jokic. Man up, Mike Malone. Suck it up and come back next year because I thought you should have won it anyway. Me and Garland on record saying you should have won it anyway. So I don't actually hate the team. I just hate you, Mike Malone. I don't even hate you, Jokic. But, grow up. Grow up. The spoils go to the victor.
What was he supposed to say?
Nothing. When he waved your fans off, you supposed to go over to the bench and sit down and say, "Oh my."
I'm talking about Malone. What was Malone supposed to say?
When they asked him, "How does it feel?" You were up 20 and then you lose the game. He was supposed to say, "Damn,
great.
No. He was supposed to say, "Damn, it's tough." Yeah, credit to them. It's tough. This and that. You gonna be like, "What do you think? What do you think? We're going home." And then going, "Mama, stupid ass question." No, stupid ass coach. Come on, yo.
Belichick has been doing this for centuries.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to go into the past episodes where I said I like Belichick. You want me to get a come on, yo, on his ass too?
Okay.
Fuck him too.
That sounds The commentary just shared with you is by a bitter Lakers fan who feels his team should have went further this year. It has nothing to do with Denver Nuggets, Mike Malone,
No,
or Nikola
I
Jokic.
don't think the Lakers should have went further. But the Nuggets be beating the shit out of us, and they act like it's just light work. Y'all got some light work this time.
They had light work.
Yeah, they be treating my Lakers like they light work and shit.
They playing games.
They treat my, they be treating my Lakers like shit, yo. Jamal Murray ass. The whole game I was watching with the container, I was just like, I'm so glad his ass is missing these shots and looking all frustrated, looking like fucking Gonzo and the Muppets and shit. Because against the Lakers, this motherfucker be falling all back and shit, hitting shots, be like, and they get a smile like, fuck you, Jamal Murray. I'm glad you bitches is home.
And we thank you for joining us for another episode of The Big Show.
I had to get that one out. Between that and Scottie Scheffler, I've been waiting to get them out.
Calvin's had a lot to say. He had a lot to get off his chest, y'all. Real quick, come on, yo. I was going to say something about Preakness. I said something before about Preakness, and we got black people, Afro Preak. They're trying to get the black dollar. I'm gonna leave those people alone. I'm gonna leave Afro Preak alone. But come on, Diddy. If you didn't see any news over the weekend, you probably saw the tape of Sean Diddy Combs assaulting Cassie, and people for decades been saying that Diddy was rotten, and I didn't pay too much attention because Diddy doesn't mean anything to me. I don't follow Diddy. Diddy, is not significant to me. But basically we know that his career, anything that he's going to do, it's dead. In the court of public opinion, because it's already past the statute of limitations. They can't go back and charge him. But in the court of public opinion, he's dead. He's not gonna, his branding and ain't gonna be no more Bad Boy reunion concerts or anything like that. That's all over. But that apology that he offered the other day, I don't want to. Well, no, I am going to say it. We can forgive people, but we don't have to forget. You know, I've known some abusers, and they've rehabilitated their lives and they're good people, but I don't forget that they are abusers, though. That they've had it inside of them, that they've hurt people physically, and there's going to be some idiots. I mean, excuse me, people out here that are going to forgive Diddy, but I think in what should happen to him, the universe always plays out. I don't care what you do. The universe always comes back and it plays out perfectly. They say what you do in the dark will come into the light. They say you reap what you sow. And when I look back in life, usually those things are very true. And so, death to Diddy, I'll say that. And death to any of these people who are going to try to make sense of what happened and what he did. I've already seen some commentary, someone talking about Cassie was stealing money out the room or whatever. But come on, yo, this apology, whatever, you don't mean it. You don't mean it. And I hope no one gives him a platform to try to sell this rehab image of a person. You felt so bad. He said, I felt so bad over the years. Well, how come you never admitted this? How come you paid this woman off to keep silent? If you felt so bad, how come you didn't come clean publicly to help other people who were pushing up your image and talking this young lady down like she was a dog and she was an ambulance, a money chaser? You didn't do anything to save her image, but you did everything to save yours. And so, yeah, come on, yo.
Yeah, when you got a history of being an awful person, as the rumors have always been flying about Diddy. And I'm not even talking the abuse allegations. We're talking the stealing of music, the
Yeah,
not paying people what they're worth. Like you just have a history
yeah,
of being an awful
yeah.
person.
When you look at his life as a record label owner, as a manager, and all those people have lost their lives dealing with Diddy. Someone said either people have died, they've gone to God, or they end up penniless and broke
It's true.
because of Diddy. Yeah, yeah,
That's why rumor has it. That's why J Lo got out of there. Of course, Sean is probably one of the only ones that turned his life around and became, what is he, prime
prime
minister?
minister.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
So
country.
it's
Yeah,
just it's just sad. And for those of us that and Garland was talking about how in college he was listening to Public Enemy. For those of us, my little portion of the world, age bracket of the world, Bad Boy was it for us. That was the music
hmm
of our young adulthood. Bad
Biggie
Boy
and
was
Craig
it.
Mack and
Yeah,
yeah,
that was our thing.
Shiny
So
Shoe era.
that whole Bad Boy reunion and all, for us, that's nostalgic.
hmm
Like, yeah, that's the stuff we was jamming off
hmm
of.
Ain't
And
gonna be no
and
more Day 26 or
yeah, man, Danity
Danity Kane.
Kane.
Ain't gonna be no the 112 reunions going on unless
it's
112 be on the road by themselves.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I mean, we already had to, I don't want to say lose, but you already got to side eye your own self when you're listening to R. Kelly music. Now you got to side eye yourself when you're listening to Bad Boy. Like, what we got
Yeah,
left now?
I'm not saying you gotta take away the music.
You
I
don't have to
mean,
take it away,
you
but
don't
you
have to
gotta
take it
you
away.
gotta kind of side eye yourself
Yeah,
because you
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 know,
side eyeing yourself like
yeah. But should we put the music in a place where it's generating funds and stuff like that? Then that's a discussion. But yeah, I'm not gonna say take away the music, but I say take away his opportunity.
it's just I'm just saying, man, the skinny boys would never. You you
The
we
skinny boys.
the skinny. Well, I'm gonna have to go back and start
The skinny
listening to
boys.
Three Times Dope.
Right.
Start listening to, when I
Right.
was with Steady
My pops and my grandpops told me back in the day.
B. Anyway, man, hey, another good show. This was a Wednesday night show.
Franklin's. She went Jefferson's and Franklin's. I said, no way.
There's
How
another
many is it
Wednesday night
today?
show.
President's Day?
It might it might come out tonight, it might come out tomorrow, but it will be here before the weekend. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Thank
Garland,
you for my dividends.
we 2 episodes into the shy. We supposed to be dropping something. We're gonna have to do it at the
We're gonna have
Memorial
to do it
Day.
after Memorial Day.
You been watching? You watched the first 2 episodes?
No. I watched a
I
piece of the
can't.
first episode, and I'm
I
just
can't.
like,
I can't wait until I
this is.
can't wait.
I think I caught it where Lisa, no, Jill Marie Jones. She used to be on
Tony,
Girlfriend. Tony.
Tony
Tony,
Childs.
Tony Childs from Girlfriends. She's on there now. And her and what's her face, they were smoking a blunt in the house, and I just was like,
I can't wait until you
this is
watch it
just.
so I can
I
hear
need to
what you
watch the
gotta
whole.
say.
I just seen a piece. I saw uh Shumpet. He then came
Hmm.
back from the dead, and uh, yeah, I'm not ready, Calvin. I'm not ready.
I can't wait until you
I'm not
watch it, bro.
ready. I gotta watch the whole episode.
I can't wait until you watch these two episodes because
Okay,
I
don't do
can't
it to me.
just can't wait. But anyway, we thank you for joining us. Again, happy Memorial Day, everyone. We will definitely see you all next week. Again, this is live on YouTube. It'll be on all your podcast
Yes.
platforms, and if you have Spotify, you can see our beautiful faces on your screen. And leave us a review. Tell us how you like it. Send us some money. We need to get like a cash app or something. Get people
Right.
to send us
Let's put
some
that
money.
cash app up or something.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and
god
get one.
damn. Shit. We need to do something
Cash
about that.
app.
Anyway, let me hit this outro. I can't believe he was hitting my 3 times dope, man. My 3 times.
You have been
dope.
listening to the B.I.G. Show.
Franklin's and
The
Jefferson's.
show
I
was
said, no
produced
way.
and written by Calvin Coates and Garland Thomas
think
for
this
All
is
Things Black
President's
Production. Follow us on all
Started
of the
asking about my
podcast
dividends.
media platforms.
All right, man. Later.
Peace.